Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of my Draenei Warrior Let's Play series, where last episode we completed the introductory quests and the starting area for the Draenei on our warrior character here, and today I'm going to go ahead and continue our adventures here in Azuremyst Isle, where I picked up many different quests, and some of them are to take us to the Exodar and to take us to Bloodmist Isle, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of just start with maybe these two quests to kill some Moongray stags and to get some root trapper vines, because these are pretty basic quests and we can do this in order to help supply Azure Watch here in the center of the island. Where as I ran into this area and explored this place in the Moongray's woods, I leveled up to level 8 and we can go ahead and begin fighting some of these bucks. Where I don't really have a set plan for what I want to do today, where I'll probably just play a bunch of quests and we'll go ahead and see where our adventures take us. But as we leveled up, we unlocked Taunt, which is kind of an interesting skill for the situation we are in, because this will taunt the target to attack you. So if we do that, we can see it will be attacking us, and if it was fighting another ally around us, so like another player, and we use this ability, this enemy would begin attacking us. So this is kind of an important skill when it comes to tanking in instance content or like group quests and whatnot, where we can basically build up a bunch of defenses and we can go ahead and become a tank, where we try to get all the enemies to focus their attacks on us instead of our allies. So then if we had a healer around us, the healer could primarily focus on keeping us alive instead of keeping all of our allies alive. But since we are in the open world and since we are questing, you're not really going to be doing anything like that. So it might be useful in maybe a couple of situations, but for the most part, it's just going to be something we kind of have hanging out right here. And maybe I'll take it off my skill bar, similar to the shield block. Maybe I could take it up here because maybe it's just like never use it. But I've been enjoying playing this character, and it is fun to go through this area where we have a Draenei right here by the name of Tavara, and it looks like she doesn't really have anything for us, but I think this might be a character, I'm not 100% sure, but for any priest characters that come through here, we're going to have a quest to come to her and to basically heal her so that they can unlock a special early game priest item and to basically learn about a couple of different skills. But we got through all the Moongray's bucks very, very quickly, and now we just need to find a bunch of root trappers around here. Got a nice group going on here, and it's kind of fun to be exploring this area of the world because it's similar in many ways to Kalimdor, but then we see kind of the effects that the crash of the Exodar has on the wildlife around here, including wildlife brought in from Azeroth, which we will be hanging out with soon enough. Or wildlife from Outlands, not Azeroth. We are currently on Azeroth.
I'm out of range.
It's also kind of interesting to see the development of World of Warcraft as is shown in like the starting areas, because we have the 6 different starting zones that are available in vanilla World of Warcraft that players should be very familiar with, especially if you watched all my other Let's Play series as we went through each of them. But we have Azuremyst Isle and we have Eversong Woods introduced in the Burning Crusade, and the starting zones are basically kind of like the same idea. You have a character that starts here, and I have a full inventory, and they are basically just like exploring through this area of the world. Is this Outlands? Or Classic Tailoring, okay. But you're exploring through a new zone, the first zone of the game, as a brand new character, and you're leveling up and you're dealing with quests that are kind of teaching you some different things about the game, and there tends to be a lot of attention and like many different details available in starting zones compared to like some other zones later on in the game, and they tend to be like some of the most fan favorite experiences in World of Warcraft. But then with the Burning Crusade, we see 2 new starting zones introduced to the game, and they are the same vibes, but they feel like just, you know, more evolved, like newer than the older starting zones, because they are like, you know, 2-3 years older, however many years older than the previous starting zones. And then as you continue into expansions, you know, the zone design and zone philosophy changes over time. So any starting zones that we see in the future, specifically with like the Pandaren race, and then we see the Death Knight and like the Demon Hunter, like have special starting zones, even though they are like a class specific like starting zone where only Death Knights can access the Death Knight starting area. And then I think we see stuff with like the Drakthir and whatever with Dragonflight. But the zones are just like evolve as World of Warcraft has evolved as a whole. So it's kind of interesting to see like the design principles of the Burning Crusade in comparison to the design principles of Vanilla, and how that can be seen at like the very start of the game as like this starting zone. You know, it feels like a starting zone, but it feels very different than Elven Forest.
I need to get closer.
We got a pod wreckage right here. Let's go ahead and explore this area really quickly, because maybe there's something in here, but potentially nothing too interesting. And it's just kind of like a piece of decorations where there is a Blood Elf bandit here, actually. Let's go ahead and kill this guy. And we got a Blood Elf communication. So we dealt with the Blood Elves earlier on in the starting area where there's bandits here. Take the Blood Elf communication back to Azurewatch, where this is going to be really interesting. So it looks like this Blood Elf bandit was like coming through this area of the road and trying to find any survivors in order to kill them, where I guess I'll go ahead and loot this really quickly. We found some refreshing spring water, but that's interesting. I don't really remember this quest, so this was kind of fun to stumble upon. There's our final root trapper vine, and we are pretty close to this town here, so we have 3 different quests we can turn in, and then we could also do the Furbolg language primer, which I think I might do later on. Not entirely sure. We'll see where our journeys take us. Where my, I guess you could call it a design philosophy, but my idea for this Let's Play series, and kind of my Let's Play series moving forward, is kind of returning back to what I was doing with my Human Mage Let's Play series in the earlier episodes, and is basically what I do with every single one of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play episodes, where instead of being like 10 hours of content cut down to like 40-minute videos, I'm kind of just playing through the game and having fun, and anyone who wants to hang out with me as we explore the world can go ahead and just do that, where we can turn in this quest and we can apply the ointment to the Night Elf Priestess. It says wounds, or the Anchorite is going to be doing that. Or hopefully this will help out this Night Elf Priestess, but unfortunately the ointment was ineffective, where perhaps the alchemist here has a solution, which I guess I'll point out. We have this character here, Otanambusi, or however you pronounce that, where this is a vendor, but this is a broken Draenei compared to the other Draenei that we can see around here. So it's kind of cool to see some of them where they kind of resemble the, oh, this is a weapon. Let's hold on to that. Where they kind of resemble what the Draenei look like in vanilla World of Warcraft a little bit more, but are a little bit more evolved with how World of Warcraft's evolution has happened with graphics updates and whatnot. But then we also see other type of broken Draenei that we can find that look just like the ones in vanilla World of Warcraft. Let's go ahead and pick up an alternative where we need to get some snapdragon bulbs from around this area of the world, and we can go ahead and deliver the bandit communication, which I'm not sure if this is going to lead to another quest or something, but it might just be kind of informing him about what's going on, and it is exactly that, where we got an upgrade there, and we have gained a lot of reputation with all the different alliance races, where I don't think technically we are a member of the Alliance right now, because we just crashed in Stormwind, and this Night Elf character is kind of our first contact with the Alliance. But I have another quest over here that I can go ahead and turn in with the Moongraze Stags, and I might get another quest in order to go ahead and get more supplies so we can get more hides, and then we have the Snapdragon Bulbs quest now as well, and we have a warrior quest that we should unlock soon, which is really cool to see that there's still some class specific quests available in the game. But let's go ahead and head back out here, where I have this axe that I'm super excited to be able to use once we level up to level 9, which should be very soon. So I'm going to do my best not to forget about that axe, because I always forget about stuff in my inventory. But we're going to basically do the exact same thing that we just did, where we're going to kill some Moongraze stuff, and then we have to collect a few different plants. But instead of killing the like walking around plants with like the root trappers or whatever they were called, we can go ahead and just pick these flowers. And then there are also some night stalkers around here, so we can see some night sabers, which I alluded to last episode. But we have the higher level Moongraze bucks that we can go ahead and fight, and after a couple kills we should be able to level up, which is going to be fun. I got a little nervous because there's a lot of stuff there. Okay, we just got attacked by this Night Stalker that I got nervous from over here.
the target.
Go ahead and loot that. Oh, and we got a faintly growing, oh my gosh, faintly glowing crystal. So another item similar to the bandit communication, and we can go ahead and bring this back towards Azure Watch. But first, let's go ahead and collect all the items we need, which maybe with this Night Stalker kill, it's probably going to be another one. Yeah, another one. Okay. We keep getting attacked by them, but it's good experience for us, which I don't think I really care too much about getting experience, and I kind of just care about completing the different quests, where I don't see many oh, there's two right there. I was about to say, I don't see many Moongrace bucks around here. Let's go ahead and come deal with these two, where I think I can say with killing this one, we will level up to level 9. And there we go, where we can now use this axe. So let's go ahead and equip this. Where we were using a two-handed sword, we can now use a two-handed axe. And at the end of the day, it's going to be something very, very similar, but just like a different type of weapon. And of course, this weapon is much more powerful because it has 4 different types of stats on it: strength, stamina, critical strike, and versatility, which is cool. So we can go ahead and deal even more damage to our enemies around here. And as we leveled up to level 9, we unlocked Whirlwind, which is kind of insane to unlock this at level 9, because this is just like a very iconic and very cool skill. But unleashes a whirlwind of steel, striking all nearby targets for 27 physical damage, deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. So let's go ahead and use this, and we're just going to, oh, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know what it was like, but it's just like an AoE attack, where I think the older version of Whirlwind, it was like a cooldown ability, so you could only use it like once every 5 minutes or something along those lines, but it would just deal like a ton of damage over time, where your character would just be spinning around and just dealing a ton of damage. But now you can just use it and you have like a nice AoE attack. So when we're fighting multiple different enemies around us, we should make sure that we use this attack. And then we probably want to utilize stuff like Slam, which costs the same amount of rage but deals twice as much damage, more or less, but only does it to 1 enemy compared to basically 5 enemies, where it will deal reduced damage above 5 enemies. It's kind of fun to play a warrior as a Draenei, because warriors tend to not have too many like healing skills, and I think in the modern version of WoW they have like 1 or 2 that they get, but really in like the older versions of WoW you don't really see that. But we have the Gift of the Gnaw, which will heal us even though we are a warrior, because it is a racial skill, which is really cool and actually very beneficial. So we can use that alongside like potions and also bandages from first aid in order to keep our health up. And then of course when we are out of combat, we can go ahead and eat food, where eating food will restore our health over time. And we can also drink water, like this refreshing spring water, but since we are a warrior who does not have mana, this is pretty much worthless to us, so we can just go ahead and sell this for some extra gold, which is nice. I guess let's switch up our Order of Turning quest in this time, where this map is just beautiful. I love just standing in this town and looking off in like the 4 different directions and just seeing like the beautiful sights. It's very, very cool. But let's go ahead and turn in this crystal, which is interesting. So we can go ahead and find and slay 8 infected Night Stalker runts, where we killed a bunch of them. And we can go ahead and go back and kill a bunch more. But we have the alchemy trainer here, where we can go ahead and turn this in, and maybe we can go ahead and heal this priestess, where we're going to have a quest after this, and we just became honored with Exodar. But let's go ahead and give this potion to the Knight of Priestess. This should do it. Wake up, little creature. Wake up from your slumber. You're safe now. The priestess groans and sit-ups. Where am I? What is this place? By the light of Elune, Eridar, cursed demons, what have you done to me? I have not come alone. We will fight you as we have in the past. Minari, but how? We are not Eridar. She must know. If there are others like her, we must find them and explain. Let's go ahead and look at this quest. The prophets spoke of this day, that on this island in this new world our allies would find us. We will be tested. They will ask what we pay for the sins of our fathers. At the time I did not understand the meaning behind his words, but seeing this creature and her reaction to us, it is now coming into focus. The corruption of our people has been felt even here. Venture south. It is there that we found this being. Find its kin and tell them of our people. So for anyone who doesn't know, World of Warcraft is a game that has a ton of lore and story. Basically 10,000 years ago, we saw the invasion of the Burning Legion, and they attacked Azeroth, and amongst their ranks were the Minari, which are Eridar, who are basically evil Eridar. We got the Draenei, who are basically good Eridar. And we saw basically 3 leaders of the Eridari people. We have a villain, we have Archimonde, and we have Kil'jaeden, where Archimonde and Kil'jaeden basically sacrificed like themselves and their people to the Burning Legion and became super powerful demons and became servants of Sargeras and of the Burning Legion and basically just attack a bunch of worlds. And we see that back then. And then we see with the recent invasion of the Legion that happened, I think like 5 or like 6 years technically in the story before this point, we see like Archimonde as well as like other Minari potentially attacking Azeroth. So very recently we see the people of Azeroth dealing with like Archimonde, who is a Minari, who is an evil Eridari, where Villain did not go with his friends and his co-leaders actions and joining the Legion and basically fled to Draenor, where we have like the whole story where the orcs killed a bunch of Draenei and then the Draenei fled Draenor, and we reached this point in the story where Villain and these Draenei are basically good people and not like the Minari who have attacked Azeroth in the past and who enslave other races and deal a ton of damage to the worlds that they attack and obliterate the people of those worlds. But this Night of Priestess, as well as many members of the Alliance, don't really know the separation between the two just yet, where they look basically just like the Minari because they are the same race, but they're just not corrupted by demons. So we are going to have to deal with basically the Alliance not trusting us because of the past sins of the Minari, and we're going to have to work our way into the Alliance, where of course we're not going to be with the Horde because the orcs slaughtered a ton of Draenei on Draenor before they came and attacked Azeroth. But we can turn in this quest where we got this cape, Moongray's Fur Cloak. And we have the quest to kill some Night Stalkers, but I think we should go ahead and do this quest, the Prophecy of Villain, or how you pronounce it, where let's go ahead and just come to the south here, where we can see some sort of fortifications on the coast here. So let's go ahead and run this way, where it looks like some logging has been taking place. And coming into view, we can see multiple things. We can see a ship in the background, but we can see banners here on these watchtowers, and we can see these axemen here, where these axemen are members of the Alliance. We have the Night Elf Priestess, where the Night Elves are a member of the Alliance, and we now see humans who are a member of the Alliance, so we can go ahead and make formal contact with some members of the Alliance and basically try to negotiate with them and build peaceful relations with them. Where we have Odysseus's Landing, or however you pronounce that name, and we can go ahead and come around here. Where one more important note about the Night Elves is that many of the Night Elves were alive 10,000 years ago and as well as 6 years ago. So some of them have first-hand experience with dealing with the Minari, where when we interact with this one, she just eyes us suspiciously. Where let's go ahead and chat with this Admiral of the Alliance Naval Command, and we can go ahead and begin helping them out and earning our trust. And we got Cookie McWeaksauce here, who's a character that's just super nostalgic for me. I'm not entirely sure why, but I thought it was fun that his name was Cookie when I played this area originally when I was like 8-9 years old. But we can go ahead and help them get some food as well, and then we can go ahead and collect some nautical compasses and nautical maps over here, where the Venture Company are on this island, where the Alliance are here and they're trying to take control of the island a little bit. And it's going to be very helpful to have the Draenei join the Alliance, because the Draenei have been building fortifications across these islands and are basically claiming this place as their home right now on Azeroth. Where the Venture Company are just, you know, a group of goblins that hire outside of goblins as well, where we see like ogres and like gnomes and whatnot joining the Venture Company, and they're just trying to make a ton of money. So we can go ahead and just deal with them, because they want to make money by basically destroying all the resources in this area of the world and just selling all the wood and stone and whatnot, which we see the Alliance kind of doing over there, where they are chopping down some trees, but they are doing that in order to build their base. Coming into view, we can see the goblins here And there's also some gnolls, which we are playing on the modern version of the game. So we have like the updated gnoll models here, and we see like updated goblin models for Cataclysm. So it's kind of just interesting to play through some older zones in the modern version of the game because of like the model updates over time. But let's go ahead and just deal with all of them. And we're getting pretty close to level 10, which I think is going to be a little bit of a bigger level for us, which is cool. I'm definitely struggling on inventory space, but I don't really care about making too much money on this character since this is basically all I'm doing. So if I lose some items, we can go ahead and just lose them. Where I guess I forgot, with quest items, they go into a special inventory and they don't really go into your actual inventory, which is kind of cool. But quest items that you need to like interact with in order to pick up quests or to deliver quests, I suppose, aren't the case. So we picked up the map and we were fine there, and we can go ahead and come over here for the compass, which we can see this structure here, which is really, really cool because this is an ancient night elven structure. So sometime 10,000 years ago, the night elves presumably lived on this island, and then kind of with like the splitting of Kalimdor because of the actions of their queen, as well as the battle against the Burning Legion 10,000 years ago, that led to like the explosion of the Well of Eternity that split the mega continent of Kalimdor up into the smaller continents of Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms and all the other continents. We see that there are some remnants of Night Elven civilization from the ancient version of their civilization just all around the world, and we can see a tower there, and a little bit of a spoiler, we're going to see a little bit more as we progress through here, including potentially some more modern Night Elven civilization. It's cool seeing the Alliance's boat just kind of sitting out there in the water, and I really like the reflection of the boats as well, where I just love when there's like random details added to the world, because the boats don't really have to be here and they don't really serve any gameplay purpose, but it would make like no sense to have like a group of sailors that are building like a more permanent fortification on this island who came in on boats to not have their boats nearby. So it's just a nice detail to the game, of course. And of course we are swimming right now, so we have a breath bar up here. So if this breath bar depletes, we will start taking a lot of damage and will quickly die. But fortunately for us, we can just come up and get some breath, and since we are done with these two quests, we can go ahead and come back to shore and return to the Alliance fortifications over here, where we can go ahead and turn in both of these quests. Back to the Admiral, we can go ahead and turn in the compass and the map, and we just leveled up to level 10, and we just unlocked a ton of quests. And with leveling up to level 10, we have unlocked many different things: Dungeon Finder, Battleground, Specializations, Talents, and Ground Mounts, and 2 Battlegrounds. But let's go ahead and just pick up all these quests where we can fight Naga, which used to be Night Elves, and we can go ahead and collect some ancient relics from a Night Elven area around here, where it looks like we also unlocked several new skills. So yeah, we unlocked like 3 new skills, I think. So let's go ahead and come over here really quickly, where we also got some dwarves, and we saw a gnome on the beach. So we see all 4 members of the Alliance just hanging out here, which is kind of cool to see them. Let's go ahead, chat with Cookie McWeak Sauce, turn this in, and we got some food. We're going to have 3 quests over here, including the Night Stalker quest, and then we gotta go ahead and do this I've Got a Plant quest, where let's go and do a few different things. Where first we have our specializations, where we have, as a warrior, arms specialization, fury specialization, and protection specialization, where I'm not entirely sure which one I want to do. I don't think I want to do protection because it's like tanking, though it could be fun. But we have Blade Storm, which is kind of similar to the old Whirlwind ability, and we have Mortal Strike, but then here we have Bloodthirst, and then Recklessness. I kind of want to go arms, I think. Both of them are pretty cool. A fun thing with Fury is that you can dual wield 2-handed weapons, and I did a lot of that on live stream, so maybe I'll go arms, where we can activate the specialization. And then with the War Within and the Dragonflight, we have kind of a talent tree that we can go ahead and progress through here. And I don't really care too much about optimizing my talents, So I might just go ahead and pick some fun stuff. We can run at a high speed towards an ally, where leech increased by 3%. Your auto attacks generate 10% more rage. Killing an enemy instantly generates 5 rage and increases your movement speed by 30% for 8 seconds. Movement speed increased by 5%. I kind of like these two abilities, or talents. So these are passives. This would grant us a new ability. And then if we come into our spell book, we have a ton of stuff. So we unlocked Heroic Throw, so this is a ranged attack that we can go ahead and use. And then we have Execute, which we can use to finish off any enemies around us. And then we got Battle Shout, which is basically a buff that we can go ahead and use on this. And it lasts for an hour, which is really nice and doesn't cost any rage and just increases our attack power. And that was really, really cool. Maybe I'll do it again without having the talent tree here. Maybe I should move Shield Slam up here because we're not going to do too much damage. I'll put Execute here, and then maybe I'll have that there, and we'll unlock some more stuff. Let's go ahead and use Battle Shot just to see what it looks like, and we can just scream. But then if we come into here, we can see our Warband Collections menu, where we have a bunch of appearances, a bunch of different heirlooms that we could use if we wanted, a bunch of different toys, a bunch of different pets, but also some mounts, where I have some mounts unlocked that we can use. But since we leveled up to level 10, we can go ahead and start using a mount. And I want to go ahead and search for Elix, because these are the racial mounts for the Draenei. And let's go ahead and begin using what we would be using as our first mounts as a Draenei, which would be this purple, this gray, or this brown Elix. And I like the purple one, so let's go ahead and throw that down there. And we can mount up, and we can see it is like a massive elephant that we can ride around on, and it is very fun. But we can go ahead and just start using this to get around the world a little bit faster, and we can complete these quests a little bit faster. So let's go ahead and begin with the quests, where we need to get some piles of leaves, and we also need to find a hollowed out tree. And we can go ahead and do these quests, and then we can go ahead and go over towards this Naga like fortification area. Anyone else see that Timber Strider just floating in the air right there? Okay, so it seems like the crash landing of the Exodar has really affected the wildlife around here, so that is definitely a little concerning, and we should maybe try to help out the wildlife. I got all the leaves. I just need to find a tree now, and I guess we gotta come all the way over here for that. Here's one next to a bunch of the Alliance loggers. So we completed this quest, so let's go ahead and run back into the landing here, and we can turn this quest in. Where if you look at the map art, I guess we can see like a kind of giant turtle right there, and like some sort of like dragon kind of swimming through the water. If you come up to Bloodmist, we don't have too many cool things. We have this kind of like compass thing right there, but the map art for Azuremyst is definitely kind of cool. Where Kalimdor, we can see some sort of like whale, and then also that dragon. Again, if you zoom out, we can see nothing really interesting, but since it's the War Within, we have this special thing here, where we have Khazagard down here for the War Within. Here's the Admiral. So let's go ahead and do this quest where there is a traitor around here. So let's go ahead and try to find the identity of the traitor. And we need to go all the way over there. So I'm not entirely sure what I want to do right now. We could do the Naga quests, or we could do the traitor quests. And we also have this quest over here where we can find this missing fisherman. So let's go ahead and just decide along the way. And I'm going to decide to, let's do the Naga quests. Let's find some ancient relics, and let's just kill a bunch of Naga around here, where there are some ancient relics right here actually. Let's go ahead and try out some of our new abilities, where we can use this throw ability, just launch our weapon at the enemy, and we could charge it, and we just dealt a lot of damage. That was a lot of damage. Okay. Let's bring the oh, never mind. I just one-shot him, and our inventory is full. I forgot to sell some stuff. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. And then we can go ahead and pick up this quest, and we can return it. Let's go ahead and start dealing some damage here, and let's let the enemy get low in health. just with our auto attacks, and then we can use our... Never mind.
Inventory.
Let's try here maybe. Okay, let's have another attack, and then we can use our execute ability. So just when they get low on health, this is especially good when enemies have like a ton of health. We can go ahead and just use this execute ability to deal a ton of damage. Something fun I think we can do is we can charge in and use our heroic throw while charging and just deal some extra damage. I think that worked, not 100% sure.
I'm out of range.
But I feel very powerful as a warrior right now, which is good. I was recently playing a rogue character in the modern version of the game, which I was actually doing a Draenei rogue, and I did my first few levels here in the Azuremyst Isle before going and doing some other stuff. But I felt very, very weak, where it's kind of nice to be able to feel a little bit more powerful, even though we're maybe just a tiny bit too powerful for what a lot of people enjoy. But of course this is the very beginning of the game. We just need to get a few more ancient relics, and I made my way through these entire ruins, so we can return back to the landing, but I might also just come up this way, and we have several different quests we can do. Where let's go ahead and come do the traitor quest, and then maybe the missing fisherman quest, and then after doing all of this we can journey back towards the main island, where there's just a ton of Naga attacking me right now. Let's just ignore them. We can see some docks over there, and on it is like some sort of lamppost or maybe some sort of like fishing equipment, where we have entered a trader's cove where a member of the alliance is working with the venture company. So let's go ahead and come over here and disguise ourselves as a very convincing tree and find out that the traitor amongst the alliance ranks is this gnome that was wandering the beach near the camp. And then we can see this goblin here, where we have Engineer Spark Overgrind, Envoy of Mechatork. What's the big idea, Spark? Why'd you call for this meeting? What's the big idea? You nearly blew my cover, idiot. I told you to put the compass and navigation map somewhere safe, not out in the open for any fool to discover. The Master has gone to great lengths to secure information about the whereabouts of the Exodar. You could have blown the entire operation, including the cover of our spy on the inside. Relax, Spark. I have it all under control. We'll strip mine the Exodar right out from under him, making both you and I very, very rich in the process. Relax. Do you know what Kael'thas does to those that fail him, Gizel? Eternal suffering and pain. Do not screw this up, fool. Our bloodmist scouts have located our contact. The fool, villain, will soon leave himself open and defenseless, long enough for us to strike. Now get out of my sight before I vaporize you. Yes, sir. It won't happen again. So we have discovered perhaps the mastermind behind everything going on with the venture company being here, and also the Blood Elves being here, where we have Kael'thas Sunstrider, who is one of Illidan's lieutenants, who eventually actually betrays Illidan and kind of sides with Sargeras of the Burning Legion, which I think we might be seeing that happen here a little bit. But we can see that Kael'thas had an agent on the inside, which we learned that that agent sabotaged the Exodar and is the reason for it crashing. And maybe the bad part is that there's an agent on the inside that we are going to have to deal with. And it looks like the venture company are going to try to strip mine of the Exodar in order to get a lot of money. But we have this area here where we see this night elven house right here, which got destroyed by one of the crystals of the Exodar. And we have this night elf that lives here who used to live in this house, but his house was destroyed and his ship sunk, and he is a broken man stranded on a broken island, where we are not here to kill him. And if you want to read all of this stuff, you can kind of just see what the story is going on, where we are talking to him about how the Legion targeted them 10,000 years ago, and so many other times across the world, of course, where we can go ahead and turn in this quest and we can try to find the remains of his family. So since we are partially responsible for this crash, given the fact that we were on the ship and we're kind of coming towards this area of the road, let's go ahead and try to bring him some peace with fighting his family. Here we have some Albies around here whom we can go ahead and fight in order to do this quest. where we just got the remains of his family. So it's kind of gruesome. We just put them in our bag, but let's go ahead and come back to the docks here, where there are 2 smaller boats right there, and we can see that this was indeed a lamp, but all that remains, and it looks like that is all we can do with this quest, where I thought there was another quest we could do. But we can see we are on Azuremyst Isle right now, where there's just like a ton of islands where there's only like 2 zones, Azuremyst and Bloodmist Isle. But if you look here, we have 1, 2, 3 islands, and then if you come up to Bloodmist to continue counting, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So it's just like a large group of islands around here, of course, where I thought there was another quest up here potentially, where let's come up to the northern side of this area where we can see the other end of the Exodar, and there is indeed a quest over here, so I'm glad I came. So we have Magwyn here, where her family was attacked by the Murlocs and Alkin on the island several weeks ago. Where let's go ahead and escort Magwyn back home. So it looks like there is a good side of the story where it seems like Krallin's daughter, which you can see here, is still alive, and neither of them know about the fate of the other yet, so let's go ahead and reunite these 2. So this is just a basic escort quest, and of course she's going to walk right through all of the Alkin areas, so we're just going to have to get to the other end. The Alkins are attacking, and of course we can help her, where she is kind of unarmed right now, so she's just going to be throwing punches at the Alkin. But fortunately for us, we are very, very strong with many powerful abilities that we have learned, and of course our giant axe that seems perfect for the job right now. We kind of look like an executor right now, which is kind of cool. We have returned back towards her home, where she might say something about seeing the crystal in her home. My poor family, everything has been destroyed. And then we can see the docks over there, where she may notice at some point that there may be one other survivor, which is kind of a sad story to see like so many different members of a family die. But a piece of solace from that story is the fact that at least, you know, there are 2 survivors, where it's still an absolute tragedy, but at least there's a little bit of a bright spot. And it looks like we have accumulated 1 piece of gold, which is kind of cool to see, where of course it is a little bit faster than in Classic WoW, where we'd be like level 20 by our first piece of gold, I think, where we just accumulated a little bit faster and we spend less gold earlier on in the game, where we are almost at the docks. And of course at the end of the docks is Kalin, and we have Magwyn here just walking across. We can walk with her. I'm kind of surprised that the roleplay hasn't continued until this point. Father, you're alive. Daughter. You can thank Athasil for getting me back here safely, Father. And we can go ahead and turn in this quest, and we got some experience, so that's cool. We have, you know, S just running around the road, S murder hobos just killing a bunch of stuff, and we reunited the father and daughter. But of course, the thing that most people care about is the reward for doing so, where we got some experience, which is fun. But let's go ahead and return back over here, where we have 4 quests that we can turn in this way. Back through all the Naga, there's a ton of Naga attacking me again, just like when I was heading back towards the island. But we can see the boats coming back into view here, which is good. Where I feel like the questing experience in Modern WoW is so much faster than it is in Classic WoW. Mostly just because we are so much more powerful so much earlier on in the game, where we were basically like 3-shotting every mob, and we had like no downtime between fighting the mobs, which part of that definitely comes from being a warrior, where we don't have to deal with mana. But I think it's kind of like the same idea even if you were playing a mage, where as you get further into the game it becomes a little bit harder, and I suppose it would progress a little bit more slowly. But we have so many quests to turn in here, so let's go ahead and just turn in all of them, where we have reached level 11. So we have the Dragon Isles await, which I'm not going to be doing. Where let's go ahead turn in this quest about the spy. And we can go ahead and recover the traitor's communication, where we can see that the dwarf here is trying to decipher the runes, and I can go ahead and turn in the ancient relics. The dwarf says, "Alright, let me take a look," where he slowly reads the tablet, mouthing the words in their native tongue. "Naga warlord. Oh dear, this tablet is Naga communication, and their warlord has ordered his Naga to take the rest of the island by force." So we dealt with a ton of Naga around here, where we can go ahead and defeat their leader, where he's got reinforcements coming from Nazjatar, which is basically like the main central area of the Naga, somewhere underwater. But let's go ahead and kill the warlord, and we can also deal with the traitor, where let's run over here, where we have the gnome that we saw earlier, whom we can go ahead and confront and say it's over. Where he laughs. "Does it frighten you to know that there are those that would serve the Legion with such devotion as to remain unwavering citizens of your pointless civilizations until caught upon, live in fear, die by the well of Kael'thas? It's all the same, and now I cut you. Die." So, let's go ahead and just defeat this gnome, which should not be too much of a problem for us. We can get the traitor's communication, and let's go ahead and deliver this to the Admiral, where I think this really proves our loyalty to the Alliance, where we killed a traitor and we dealt with a threat to the Alliance, but also a threat to the Draenei, where we can go ahead and return back to Azure Watch and inform the Draenei about Kael'thas and about there being a spy amongst our ranks, and we can also go ahead and just continue building our relations with the Alliance. But before we do that, let's go ahead and quickly deal with this warlord, where we have to come back over here towards this Naga area, and we can see that there's a cave over here. So let's go ahead and enter the cave and kill him, where we get 2 gold for doing this, and we're currently almost at 4 gold, so we're starting to earn a lot of gold. We have a quest here at level 11 with a quest reward of 2 gold. That's kind of insane if you know how gold balancing is in vanilla World of Warcraft. Here's the cave, so let's go ahead and begin fighting through here, where maybe we could just skip past a bunch of the Naga, but it might just be easy to fight them all. Where we might have a shortcut here, where here's the warlord, we just dropped straight down to him, and let's go ahead and deal with him. So a little bit stronger than the other Naga around here, but still pretty easy for us to defeat, and we can go ahead and kill him, and then we can return back towards our camp, where maybe I'll Hearthstone out of here, but I did not set my Hearthstone to Azure Watch, which is a little unfortunate. So let's go ahead and just quickly fight our way out. I think we just have to go around this corner. Except since we did not fight our way down here, there are just a ton of Naga that we can go ahead and deal with, which I could Hearthstone back to the starting area and just run over, but maybe it's good to kill a few Naga here and there. You know, Naga are kind of just like a classic enemy without too many redeeming qualities. However, people have always wanted the Naga to be a playable race, and I think that would definitely be an interesting addition to the game, where the introduction of new playable races is always something that is talked about a lot, especially since the introduction of the Draenei and the Blood Elves, because that is evidence that they are releasing brand new races to the game. Back this way, let's go ahead and talk to the Priestess once again, where we can go ahead and get an upgrade to our boots, but first let's go ahead and sell some stuff. Let's talk to Cookie here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm clicking on a bunch of random things right now. That's a little awkward. But I guess I'll just sell pretty much everything right here. Maybe even this stuff. Right now, let's go ahead and get our boot upgrades. And we have completed all the quests here at the landing. But now, a really fun detail, since we have basically proven ourselves to the Alliance. If you remember when we were first here, the Priestess just eyed us suspiciously. But if we chat with her, we are lucky to have survived this ordeal. If it wasn't for you, everyone on this island could have been killed. So she basically trusts us a little bit more now and respects us a little bit more now. Here, let's go ahead and equip these boots and keep that there and sell that for 6 copper, and let's go ahead and return to Azure Watch. We got a peacekeeper wandering the roads and just protecting everybody, which is kind of interesting to see because we made first contact with the Alliance there, but there's a Draenei guard that's like walking around that way. where we have the road that splits, where we have Odysseus' landing, and then Azure Watch this way, of course. But we got the Exodar and Valar's birth that way, which maybe next episode we can go ahead and explore the Exodar a bit. But let's go ahead and come up this way where there's a quest over here that we can pick up. But let's go ahead and speak with the Exarch first and tell him about the traitor. So deliver them from evil, and we can go ahead and complete that quest, which is good. And now we have a few different quests left in our quest log that we can go ahead and begin doing. Where let's go ahead and chat with the warrior trainer really quickly, where we can go ahead and kill the Death Ravager and then return back here. So the Death Ravager is going to be located all the way over here on the northern end of the island, and we're going to do this basically to prove ourselves, which is cool. But I think that's going to be something we do next episode, where we may explore the Exodar next episode, like I said, or maybe we'll do it a little bit later on. But we'll just see what next episode brings for us, where we completed many different things here in the Azuremyst Isle, where we basically completed everything down here, and now we have the northern end of the isle that we can start doing next episode. But I hope you all enjoyed watching this video and this episode of my Draenei Warrior Let's Play series, and I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, as always, to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time in the world of Azeroth. Goodbye.